friends who share their mothers. I go to homes and I call your mom, and I feel comfortable. And the way they welcome me and embrace me, it's not the same. It's not the same. Like, I know most orphans, okay, let me speak for myself. I don't like this time of Christmas. You're going home, mnachinja, you're doing this, you're going on traveling to see your mothers. I am stuck in Nairobi.
Really?
Yes, in my house, and most probably I will be alone.
What?
Yes. Most probably I will be alone. Because you see now, I am co-parenting. So these children have another family. And in that family, there's a shosho, there's a grandma. Oh, yeah. So instead of me keeping these children away from that family and just sitting in the house where they're used to staying, I choose, because I love them and I want them to have that relationship. Because their grandmother hasn't hurt me. Their father hasn't hurt them. You see, what goes on between me and him is between me and him. It has nothing to do with these children. So I cannot transfer my hatred on the children, and I cannot transfer my bitterness and my frustration on the children. If, for example, personally, I feel these children need a grandma. That's the only grandma that's available. So for Christmas, children should go to grandmas.
Do you have grandma?
No. You see the way I am right here? This is my whole family. Oh, and my children. I'll bring them one day when they're old enough to be alive. But this is my family. This is my family. I am my own family.
You have been forced to be accustomed to being alone.
Yes. And sometimes you see, I have people who I'm related to by blood. Family is in the heart, so I can't call you my family if you don't treat me like I'm your. No, so we are related because God made sure that we were bonded by blood.
That's right.
But we're not family because you do not treat me as family.
That's right.
You've cast me out. I actually have a relative who told me, my mom's name is Wanjiro. A relative told me that Wanjiro is the one who was ours when we were in Pitangia. So we do not know you. You are non-existent to us. You have no use, or you mean nothing to us. So if someone tells you that, is that your family?
You're right.
Sometimes you find family in friendships more than you find it with your blood relatives. So please, discern.
Continue talking to orphans, because one thing you have taught them is you can find also motherly love in others.
In other people, you find people. I could love you like your mother. I have people that I genuinely, honestly love. Like I told you, I love people genuinely because I know how it is to receive the wrong kind of love. I know how it is to be outcast by your own family. I know how it is for your family. You see, when my mom passed away, I went and lived with relatives. It is so painful to be in the other room while your cousin and your auntie are gossiping about you.
What?
It is the most painful thing. And you know, I am not ashamed to say my mother died of AIDS. So for your auntie to look at you and tell you you're a prostitute and you'll die like your I'm sorry, that you'll die like your mother. What is that? How do you say that to a child? How do you even say that to a child? Because and that's why I'm saying there's a little girl inside of you that wants to be loved genuinely and loved in action, not just by words. Because that same mouth that you tell me you love me with is the same mouth that you're using to insult me and tell me I'm a prostitute and I'll die like my mother. I had a child out of wedlock, I'm a prostitute. This person who's telling me that I had a child out of wedlock and I'm a prostitute also had a child out of wedlock.
I know.
It's hello kettle, my name is pot, you know. It's the matter of a pot calling the kettle black. But I'm saddened by the fact that a human being, personally, I have people, I wouldn't pass a child on the street and insult them.
You're right.
A random child that I do not even know. Even if a neighbor's child pinch my child, I cannot punish them unless I talk to their parent first. So how do you sit with me? You're my blood relative. You're my mother's sister. You're my mother's brother, and touch me inappropriately or insult me and call me a prostitute. You know somewhat, and you know when you say it in Amakikuyu, when you say it in Kikuyu or in your vernacular,
it's
you know
not derogatory.
Jesus Christ. How does a grown-up person who is a member, a church elder, call a child that word in vernacular? You know, telling you that you look like this and men are going to use you because that's all you know how to do. Right now, all my relatives, I think all of them, they say I am a prostitute. They say I am a drunk. They call me all sorts of names. But I have one question for them. Do you feed me? Do you shelter me? Do you clothe me? If that is what I do to get money, what is your problem? You know? But you see, you have not sat down with me and ask me, because I'm your niece, right?
You're right.
You're my uncle, you're like a father to me.
You're right.
Why haven't you sat down with me and asked me, why are you prostituting if I am? Where is it that you found me prostituting in the first place? You see, you plant seeds with your words.
You're right.
Like you said, words mean much more. I'd rather you slap me, because by tomorrow I'll have forgotten about it. I'll be saying, oh, Benjamin slapped me, but the pain is no longer there.
You're right.
But words cause...
Hey, we are here at the tail end of the year. This is our last show this year, guys. We have come a long way, all right? And guys, I'm so proud of you. I think we are one of the most fastest growing, Facebook online family, YouTube. We are a family that is changing lives, guys. I'm so proud of every one of you. Now, today, we want to talk about a series we have been talking about narcissistic abuse, narcissism, narcissist. That thing that people can hardly pronounce. Some people just say narcissist, anything. Some people can hardly spell it. It was not there in our curriculum. Somebody needs to edit our curriculum to include the predators out here, to warn us how they look like. Not to teach me about Avogadro's law. Something I would never hardly use. Tell me about what is prowling out there, looking out to pounce on me. So guys, we are here today. Today we want to talk about from a general, we are going to talk about the parents more so, but I want to tell you how you might encounter the narcissist and how you're going to protect yourself. I'm going to pick some of the feedback and I'll tell you some of the general things. Remember, and I want to read somebody's so that I can respond to this, because this represents a lot of misperception about narcissists. Listen to this person. Somebody called Momo Young saying, but I'm always wondering, since I'm picking from our last conversations, comments, how you guys have talked about it. Somebody saying, but I'm always wondering, since the actions are quote unquote not intentional, can't we extend a little grace to them and love them from afar? Who else is getting their hair standing up? All right? And say most of the actions are due to childhood trauma and life experiences. I guess just thinking out loud, I know they do terrible and unexplainable stuff. They like mind games. They thrive on love. I don't want to read this crap. This is from an outsider, a person who has never been abused by a narcissist, a person who has never seen people being buried, dead, prematurely killed by stress, manipulation, torture. Narcissists are not needy people. These are not people looking for help. You can't help a person that want to be helped. These are proud, arrogant, self-conceited people. They know what they are doing. Everybody goes through pain. To choose to be a bully, to choose to be manipulative, they chose this path of life. I usually tell people, no more people choose the path of love. Connecting people, loving people, building, but a narcissist decides it is going to be my way or the highway. These are controlling people, manipulative people. They know what they're doing and they will finish you and put up a show on your burial. So also keep saying, be merciful. I usually block this kind of people from my idol. Don't bring this nonsense here. I'm the one doing the body count. I'm the one who knows the damage. I'm the one who sees that destinies wasted, lives finished. Can you imagine a girl whose head is being banged against the wall by the mother? A girl who, while having periods, monthly periods, she's been told she's aborting. A girl who's meant to sleep outside. A girl is accused of cheating on the mother with the father. A class 8 girl, oh my God, who is being checked every time she comes home, whether she's still virgin. Now you're telling that girl, be great, Mama. What are you talking about? I'm here to rescue the victims. And today we are going to warn those of you who are developing narcissistic traits, how to correct early before you become this devil, that you become misfortune, hated, the person who comes to suck the life out of people. Life is already hard as it is. Life is already hard as it is. And it is not, I brought a person who is dealing with the narcissistic behaviors day by day. My guest today is an expert, a person who has dealt with men, who has done trainings with men, who's a public health expert. It's a person who's dealing with people on a day to, and he sees on a day to day what happens when you become selfish, when you become insensitive, when you become void, empty, when you become unfeeling, and the injury it has on all people around you, and how you might be blind to it, and yet You added misery to life when it's already hard. Today, I want to warn those of us who carry this kind of sympathy, sympathy around. And because the narcissism is called narcissistic personality disorder, personality disorders are in a category that they cannot be cured with medication. Moody disorders, you can be given medication. When it's a hormonal imbalance, you can be given medication. But a personality disorder is a character problem. When you have a problem, you have decided to go this way, and you become to be so antisocial, to become, it is you is supposed to change. The reason narcissists don't like changing, they can change. But to swallow the ego and admit you're proud, you'll hear people conversing drunkenness, conversing sexual sins, conversing gambling, but to hear a person saying, I was proud, I was arrogant, that is so rare. That's what narcissists cannot. To say I was selfish, I was greedy, I was insensitive, I was manipulative, I was exploitive. Those are so few. I don't send you to go out preaching that message. You don't have eternity to live. You're really short. Can you just protect yourself? It's easier to protect your own feet with sandals than to try to carpet the whole world. All right? Let me pick a few that I introduce my guest. There's somebody here who is saying this. I'm picking from the conversations we've been having, and somebody here is saying, they are pros in gaslighting. This is Gina Yako. They make you question your sanity. They make up things about you, then claim that you are forgetful, that it happened and you forgot it. And because by this point they have blamed you so much, you almost think they are right. I want to pick something else here. That was written by a lady who asked to remain anonymous, but it is a near perfect. Because we are concluding this series, I thought it's important we summarize what we have been saying, what we have been talking about this. I called this on, I posted it on my page. You can look, Benjamin Zulke, it said, a near perfect description of a narcissist. Somebody saying, I feel blessed to know there is someone who understands deeper what a narcissist is. I was once there. He started politely by saying, let's talk. In that talk, it was all about him setting rules. Some I would agree, to others I would disagree. He would call me hard-headed. Remember the following. This is a lady talking about a male narcissist. We are female narcissists. It's the man who is tormented and the children. I have talked about narcissistic wives. We brought a guy here on this show who talked about the lover he had was narcissist. How imposed. We talked about female narcissists, how they behave. They impose themselves on your life. They hurry intimacy. They hurry up to tie you. They are never wrong. They make you to always be apologizing. They are insensitive. They create drama and tension constantly. They blow things out of proportion. They impose themselves on your people. They separate you from your relatives so that you're not brought back to senses. And I warn men, those of you who are sex hunters, you will be a victim of narcissist women because they use sex to trap you and then turn your life to living hell. So narcissism is not a male thing, it's a human problem. It's not a woman problem or man problem. We are all affected. You are going to meet both genders, but men are more in numbers. You can guess why. They have a more dominant position in society. They're the fathers, the leaders. But women also are very dangerous narcissists. We have women like that. So you say, he served the rule of the clothes I should wear. No more short and more mini dresses. Several times he would tell me to avoid high heels. He would complain of my good job performance and say you should do the same in this house. He would say when he gets able, I should never go to work again. Everything here is hinting at principles we have said. A narcissist will try to stop you from working, to disable you financially and make you dependent and controllable. Are we together? And if they can't stop you from working, they put you in debts. They borrow money from you and they never pay it. Or in some way they make you unable to have money. All right. If you sense you're dealing with a narcissist, avoid joint accounts, avoid common expenditures. All right. He said his father wouldn't allow the mother to buy anything. And he hated my friends and told me to avoid them. They isolate you from friends and relatives. He hated it when I was on any social media platform. He claimed they misled women. He said I should not comment on any post. How much control is this, folks? Now, this is a narcissist. He always asked if I discussed my life with anyone to find out if you are reporting him. He was unhappy and tried so that I do not go home to visit my parents. He would go out and come back late or in the morning. I should not ask or comment. If I did, it was a fight. they cheat, they sleep out, but if you ask, you're beaten up. He would try and investigate my phone, complain of my passwords, yet he had passwords on his own. He would go to shower and switch his phone off. He would go to the toilet with it, yet it had a password, and I could not say a word. To the toilet with a phone. Huh? Fox. He kept me of his relatives, for I would tell them the truth. All right? He would act funny, like sleep on the couch in the name of he is upset. Refuse to eat food in the name of he is unhappy. He would borrow my cash, never to return, of course, and instruct me that my brothers should help my parents, not me. Don't help your parents. Let your brother help them. He would get hurt when I started ignoring his threats of leaving the relationship. They keep threatening to leave the relationship. He would brag of how he had a relationship with some ladies and how he gave them a good treat. He later left them regretting how he gave them money. He's comparing with other people, think I had better experiences with other women. He never talked of future plans. He never talked to me of investing and savings. He was a slave of debts, yet he was working. I developed a thick skin to threats and lived my life. I was called, ruled, and always referred to as a woman of no respect. I need to correct this. I need to clarify here. There are some narcissists who are financially dishonest, and there are others who are very wealthy. They have built themselves financially, but emotionally, they are terrible. They harass you and stress you. But yet, every narcissist must have an addiction because they need pleasure constantly. They are empty inside. It is an addiction to alcohol, addiction to gambling, addiction to women, to sex, to men, addiction to something. Female narcissists don't see anything. They don't have any qualms having sex with anyone because they wanted to impose themselves over to prove that they can have the man on top of the other woman. It's not about them or anything, it's competition. Remember the two emotions that dominate narcissists? Domination and admiration. Huh? They want to be admired and they want to rule over everyone. Okay? I should ask for permission before I think of doing anything. Huh? He one day came in and told me we sought issues. I felt like it felt like a forceful act that was not working. He left and went to the mother's place. I left too. Now I can see my foolishness of not walking away on time. I can see the other side of the world. I feel confident. I can go to the gym again. I can dress well for coffee and go to coffee with my friends. Guys, she say I'm now responsible and happy. I can sleep at least for 6 hours. Sleep becomes a dream. You can't sleep. The house is full of thick atmosphere. When the narcissist walks in, the air becomes thick and tense. Because they must spark something. Even some ask you, it's long since you cried. They'll bring up something to make you cry. It's long since you yelled. If you yell, if you break things, if you are giving them what they wanted, narcissistic supply. They want to make you, they feed on your stress. Your tears are their drug. The cure, don't react, don't cry. Once you sense manipulation, gaslighting, turning things around, making you look crazy. Once you sense that, your solution is to take back control. How do you take back control? Stop talking, stop running, stop reacting, start planning your exit. And let me warn those who stay in such relationship because of their children. I want their children to have their both parents. If there is stress between two parents, when you keep children there, you only scar them, hurt them. You confuse, mislead them about marriage and love. Some are so scarred, completely confused at what life is all about. Don't keep children in abusive relationships for the sake of the children. If it is harmful for you, if it's a terrible mother, terrible wife, don't keep it there. If it's a terrible father, don't keep the children there. You need your own sanity, all right? And then this person is saying, I feel I can live longer now. Am I rude or disrespectful? Am I a kind who refuse to be manipulated? Don't question your sanity because of the behavior of the narcissist. Let me introduce my expert, Bana Ken Ogedo. Thank you so much. So, what do you do?
So, I'm a public health specialist, and also I'm a behavior change expert.
Behavior change expert.
Yes.
I like that name, man.
Yes.
All right.
Basically, it's all public health. You know, we have to use those terms to keep earning food on the table.
That's right.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to align with the systems.
You have to align.
So how do you relate with today's, this series we've been doing of narcissism? Because it's one of the human behavior gone wrong, right?
Yes. I would say in my experience, so one, I'm a life and fitness coach.
Life and fitness coach, yeah.
I have volunteered at Man Enough, where I'm a facilitator.
Oh, yeah, Man Enough.
Transform Nations.
Yeah.
Founded by Simon Bevy.
Yeah.
And in that program, I've managed to interact with men And also, I'm a Kenyan, I'm a family man, I have a wife, I have 3 kids.
Oh,
I come
3
from
kids.
an extended family.
Wow.
And I've worked in this country for quite some time.
You're right.
And along the career, led, in the neighborhood, I've interacted with this behavior.
And today, because we are talking about the damage that especially narcissistic parents can inflict on the children, and you're dealing with men. You've told me you're doing money enough, trainings. Tell us whether you see what a narcissistic father, an abusive father has done to the boys now. Today, you try to help them change behavior, find their path in life. Have you been able to correlate the relationship with the men you've been training with their fathers?
So, first of all, there's something that I would like to make it very clear for all viewers and all listeners out there. Is that narcissistic people are actually very talented people. And they are very charismatic.
You're right.
They are people who can move the masses. And when you look at them, you actually want to interact with them. You want to embrace them. Because they have very good public relations.
You're right.
And they have these outstanding qualities.
That's right.
And especially charisma. And also they move the crowd and they move the people, and everybody wants to relate with them.
That's right.
But the people who know them now, their wives, their children, or their subjects, the people who report into them in their office place or in their workplace, those are the people who really know the narcissistic behavior in these people. And I might say that, for men, the way we are wired, men are pretty much lone rangers. We are not like ladies who easily form chamas. Women, like my wife joined a chama, they met 3 months, and then they said, you want to have a group, and they give it a very nice name, and they meet every quarter. For men, it's not that easy.
That's right.
We will not just meet and say, now from today you shall have a chama, the 2 of us or 3 of us.
Right.
And, men trust very slowly. We take time to trust.
That's right.
Just the way we are wired.
That's right.
And that's why we die faster, because we have no one to share our stories with.
That's true.
Our problems with, rather.
That's true.
So I would say, like you rightfully said in your speech, that it is not about gender. But going to a question, many men, especially those who have been brought up by narcissistic fathers, they end up having their destinies muffled or killed.
Wow.
And I have seen this in, my extended family. I've seen how gentlemen, or how the words from someone who does not empathize with you or feel you can mess your life. Once upon a time, there's a famous story I tell, and when my mom was growing up, and she had a very narcissistic father. And this mom told, my grandfather told my mom, you'll fail your exam. And, in fact, if you say it in Kiembo or Kikuyu, it will sound better for you to understand. But if I translate, she was told by her own father, if you fail, if you are going to fail your exam, the class 8 exam back in the day, the trees are better when they fail, they can actually be converted to firewood.
What?
That coming from your own father. So you find such comments, such kind of abuse causes you to jitter, and and as a child you might not want to, if you are not careful, if you're not confident and strong enough to resist some of those narratives that are coming from an narcissistic father or an abusive father or parent for that matter, then you're likely to believe what you're being told.
That's right.
Yeah, but I'm happy my mom never believed that, and she became a fighter. Her stories are just another one. So I can say these people who are talented, charismatic, they have this need to be appreciated, to be worshipped, to be adored, and they can do it at the expense of anything. And I don't know whether you've seen this, Zulu, even in the African setting, it is very easy to see, and I'm sure growing up you might have seen that we are not very good at correcting or criticizing our parents.
You're right.
Because narcissistic behavior is embodied in people not accepting criticisms.
That's right.
And especially from the people who know you best.
You're right.
We are looking at you here, you're seeing me here, you don't know me very well, but my wife and kids know me better.
You're right.
So if I'm I'm projecting this good character out here, but at home I'm someone else, then that's a personality disorder.
You're right.
So you find people especially in the African setting, we have not been brought up to contend or confront with love, you know, the parents or the people who are our elders, because you know it is, you know, insubordination.
That's
or
right.
You're becoming disrespectful.
That's right.
But you're just asking something that makes sense.
That's right.
So you find there are those people who have taken advantage of the system and they want to enforce it. But of course, you have got those few offshoots who are, you know, outliers. They might not want to stand up for all people to sit, you know, in a bus. Yeah, there are those few cases. But in the general realm of things,
You're right.
the culture of not accepting criticisms is very much ingrained in our society.
And to assume that the parent, because you're a parent, you know what you're doing, and the child has no authority to question it.
Yes.
And that we don't tell your children sorry. You don't admit to any mistake.
Yes.
And many times this leaves children damaged, that their emotions don't matter. They feel invalidated.
Yes.
And more so the men. I don't know whether you have noticed in your trainings with Man Enough, with Simon Baby, that guy has really done a lot of work for Africa. We really thank God for such men in our generation.
Yes.
Because we don't have a lot of people focusing on men.
Yeah.
Men don't show up. If you call men for meetings, they, who is that? to get men to show up, you must have connected with them.
Yes.
You must have. And one thing I was impressed with you is that you have taken that line to talk to men. Because there before, men would gather in, you know, at the gate. Men would gather in, and we have the older men teaching the younger men. Knowledge is being passed on. Responsibility and values and culture of men and our identity is being passed on, you know. But today we don't have that.
Yes.
We must look for a way. And when you look at online, if you go to online space, a lot of men are bitter. They comment negative things, are bitter. The narcissistic behavior online is so, and you mentioned selfie when you're offline. Yes. And I think it's good to tell our viewers that self-absorption is the essence of narcissistic behavior. Self-absorption. But self-love is a good thing. You're supposed to love yourself, appreciate yourself. Don't hate yourself, please. It's a healthy thing to appreciate who you are, to embrace yourself. Now, where it goes to narcissistic disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, when we are using narcissism in brief, we mean when you become so self-absorbed and disregard others' feelings and lack empathy and go ahead to manipulate and put others down to feel good about yourself. Now, that's the disorder. Otherwise, you can take a selfie, enjoy yourself, enjoy your image, and because if you do not, if you hate yourself, you never show love to anyone. You must be able to love yourself, but you love yourself as you also love others, respect others, and be able to form healthy relationships, all right, and cultivate a sense of self. So something I thought you should enlighten us about is, have you seen men who admit that they have been wrong and they would like to change?
So before we go there, I would like to weigh in on what you just mentioned. The social media culture that we have.
You're right.
And yes, of course, doing a selfie is not bad.
You're right.
But if you do 20, 30 selfies in a day, then we have
You're
a
right.
question.
That's true.
Similarly, self-esteem is important.
You're right.
It is actually good to have a healthy self-esteem as
You're
an
right.
individual.
You're right.
But when does self-esteem become toxic?
You're right.
You've heard of toxic masculinity.
You're right.
Where you have never been affirmed, and because you have not been affirmed, you want to get affirmed by all means, and just you want to make sure that everybody knows that you're here.
You're right.
That grandiose mentality.
That's true. That's true.
You find, here's the thing, Zulu. If you have a self-esteem, if you have a healthy self-esteem, you don't have to shout about it.
You don't. You're right.
You don't have even to go, posting
That's right.
about your achievements.
That's right.
Every day. You do not have to go and tell people, this is what I earn, or this is my new...
That's right.
Fine, this is my new car.
That's right.
This is my new job. This
That's
is my
right.
new... All those kinds of postings. Social media gives us a rapid survey to understand the social, mental issues that are happening in our society. And you realize that many people, both men and women, are suffering deeply to an extent that we actually judge. We use the number of likes and the number of people commenting on your selfie or on your achievements as a way of validation. The fewer people comment, then you feel less validated because you are not confident about yourself. You're
right.
empty. Your self-esteem is not healthy.
That's right.
And these are the things you're seeing. So back to your question, I've seen very many men out there, and I want to believe every family in Kenya has got a family member who has gotten into drug abuse or alcoholism. And I've seen this very, very clearly. You find when someone has not been affirmed by their father or their mother, but specifically affirmation from a father. You cannot become a man if another man has not qualified you to be a man.
That's right.
Another man has to call you out into manhood. And that's why I liked when you're discussing the, the female narcissist. The female narcissist, a single mother who does not have a husband or a father to her kids, will even not want her daughter or her son to meet another man, or the father, the biological father, because they want to punish them. But at the same time, they are punishing that child. Because there will be no one to call them out into their greatness. There will be no one to call them out into their destiny.
That's right.
So you find we need to have a system that enables people, and this all is enshrined in the family unit.
That's right.
Because for me, I would actually analyze this and say that the failure of leadership in the family unit is what leads to broken homes. And when we have broken homes, we create a narcissistic culture.
That's right.
And then this narcissistic culture becomes adopted, and it's handed over from one generation to the other.
That's right.
So some people have to rise up and stand up in their families, because I've seen drunkards in our families. I've seen people getting into drugs, separating from their wives, having those relationships you just mentioned, where people are very mechanical.
You're right.
They are not really loving one another.
Right.
They don't have an affectionate relationship.
That's right.
Because of alcoholism. And when you think about it, it's just OH. It's just a product.
You're right.
A byproduct from barley.
You're right.
So I would say, indeed, narcissistic behavior is there. It is awash in the social media spaces. Right. It is awash in every family out there. And just to mention something else, because sometimes people tend to confuse. We have got the narcissistic behavior,
You're right.
and you have the narcissistic personality disorder.
You're right.
Which is a mental health problem.
You're right.
And the challenge with many people in our society is that the ones who have got this NPD, they don't even know it. They do not know it.
That's right.
So you find these men and sometimes women get into drug abuse, into sexual promiscuity, into so many other things. And you still find narcissistic behavior out there in normal people.
That's right.
Because, in fact, one of the psychologists says that narcissistic behavior is like smoking. It's like secondhand smoking. It tends to rub off. Like if you find me being narcissistic and I stay with you, maybe you're my roommate in campus, or you are my girlfriend, somebody over there has a girlfriend or boyfriend. Because you spend time with this person, that behavior tends to rub on you. And it becomes very, toxic if somebody is not aware about it.
And I want to pick a few comments here before I return to Ken as we go towards winding this conversation. We are winding this series. And one of the things the pattern is saying, Nanyansi Shaldea is saying, indeed, narcs get us to a point where we have no boundaries and we lack assertiveness because, of course, they violate every boundary you had. Somebody is saying, Clinton Julius is saying, and when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you find that you love them so much, and even before you leave them, it's too late. You direct the blame on yourself for tolerating him or her for that long. That's very true, Clinton. Grace already is saying, narcissists feed on your stress. They are happy when you are stressed up. That's very true. Hesbon Nyagoko is saying, narcissists are simply wasted souls. Falling in love with these empty shells may be forgivable, but failing to go away will be a lifetime punishment. And we need to insert something here. The one thing they attack is your confidence, your self-esteem, your willpower, your assertiveness, your belief that you can make it on your own. They keep telling you nobody else wants you except them. They keep telling you that you are so miserable, they're doing you a favor by being with you. If you swallow those things for long, you can become paralyzed. Yeah? Internally disabled. You can become so weak that you fear. How many times have you rescued people from narcissists and they ran back there? They are being tormented to death, but they keep going back there. It's called codependency. You reach a point where you are so weak. And I need to announce to two groups I've warned. Orphans. Last week's show we warned orphans, do not rush into marriages because you're so needy and you cannot differentiate healthy love from counterfeit love, what narcissists offer. University students, under 25s, college students, stop dating. You cannot identify who is a narc. You are just like there's a part of your consciousness that only develops when you're 25. Even if you have graduated and you have a job at 23, do not think you're mature. Your mental development does not respect your education. You are mature enough to work, you're mature enough to develop your skills. By now you can't see red flags. Some of you ask me questions that are so annoying. This guy is saying we should lower next year. He should get pregnant for him. No, I'm wondering, no. What? Things, and I can tell this is a knack. These are narcissists, they usually try to hurry you quickly, to trap you before you open your eyes. And many of you don't recognize that this is a trap. You rush in, and it becomes impossible to get out. Somebody saying, Sly Achando is saying, Aki, at this point I can smell a narcissist 1 mile away. I'm not assuming some job descriptions. If you are unwell, go to the hospital. If you have emotional issues, Zulu is here. All right. Somebody saying, yeah, Gina Yako is confirming. They make it seem to you that they are doing you a favor by being with you, that nobody likes you, or they are the only ones who can tolerate you. All right. Benny Booty is saying, breaking up from a narcissist always takes a fight, and it hurts a lot, because they always break up with you with no better reasons. It's not easy. After they are done exploiting you and they know you are done, they usually discard you. All right. There's a lady called here, Anne Honey, saying, there are those who belong to their fathers in anything they do. Their parents must be involved. When you ask why, they say, my parents are my first priority. He can't do anything good for you, but their parents, it's a must. The so-called narcissists, I'm asking, do this also belong to this narcissist group? I'm confused. When you have a narcissistic parent, they dominate your life. They control your life completely. So guys, as we wind up this year, can we also wind up some things? Some toxic entanglements? Imagine you don't have eternity to live, to try and fix people. You want a relationship that makes your life better and happier, that improves on your singleness. If you are happier single than you are happy now, than you are now, it's not worth it. Anything that costs you your peace of mind is too expensive. You need an association that builds you. And as Kenna said, this thing can wrap, you can learn it. Maybe you are a healthy person, but you stayed with a self-absorbed person, insensitive, manipulative person, you learned their ways. Huh? So don't stay too long. If you are a child who have grown under a parent who usually shut you down, shut you up, put you down, if you do not change quickly, you can find yourself adapting that as your mode of operation. I want to ask you, learn today. Learn today to step out and go reorganize your life. Ken, how can people find you?
So you can find me on AfiaFit360, Instagram and Twitter.
Repeat that.
And YouTube. AfiaFit360, my YouTube channel.
AfiaFit316.
Yeah, 360.
360.
360 in the sense that I look at health, the social health,
You're
mental
right.
health, and physical health.
You're right.
So just to make sure that you are a wholesome person.
That's very true.
That you socialize with people properly. You mentally keep fit.
That's right.
You exercise the mental muscle.
That's right.
And mental muscles are exercised by having such interactions.
That's right.
Reading good books.
That's right.
And social health by interacting with people and in social, or rather in clean environments.
You're
and of
right.
course, physical exercise.
That's right.
But before we wind up, I just want to give a tips to your viewers.
This is your camera.
Oh, this is my camera.
Yeah.
Because you have got a lot of narcissistic people around us.
You're right.
In the family unit, like for me in my household, I usually have a meeting with my kids and my wife every 2 weeks and sometimes once a month.
You're right.
And I allow my kids to call me out. I allow them to just say, okay, hey, this is what dad is doing that is good. So I also teach them how to affirm, but I also teach them how to criticize and allow myself to be criticized. Because you cannot say that you are immune from narcissistic behavior. We might not all be suffering from this particular disorder,
right.
but you might be harboring these narcissistic behaviors within ourselves.
Right.
So I would advise you, and I've seen it working. My son and my daughter, I have 2 boys, 1 girl. They always tell me, hey dad, we need you to give us more time. You are so much on Zoom calls. We want time with you. And so I don't have to justify myself.
You're right.
So we need to employ that in our family setting. And then at the workplace, it's also good to have serious conversations with your human resource or with your boss. Like one time my boss told me, Ken, you don't easily accept correction. And I had to work over that for, and then it actually made my career blossom. And you become a better person at work and also at home, so that you are not a different person at home and you're a different person at the workplace. You need to have consistency of character. And lastly, with your wife, because narcissistic behaviors, they actually are very well demonstrated in relationships. Give the chance to your husband and your wife. Go out once a week and allow yourselves as a couple to discuss the beauty about your relationship, but also to call out these behaviors. Maybe you've not been affirming her, or maybe you've been lording it over your wife. You know, some of the things we are discussing right nowadays, you know, like, you know, I had one discussion with some very good friends, you know, now with this traffic jam and everything, should the man, you know, go to the kitchen? Should the man help the wife wash dishes? Or should we say that, you know, the man should not go there at all, should not help? Because we tend to be manipulative, because we have been taking advantage of the system. As much as the ladies went to Beijing, we also want to take advantage and manipulate. Even when we know that our wives are Caribbean women, we do not want to move the extra mile and even help wash the kids, or take them for swimming, or take them for sports, or, you know, play with the kids.
You're right.
So we have a role to play, all of us.
You're right.
And nobody is immune, so we need to keep at it, keep each other accountable. And so I usually do that with my wife once a week.
That's very good.
And we take walks, and I allow her to interrogate my lifestyle. Am I on the straight and narrow? And similarly also tell her, because we have inherited a lot of toxic behaviors from the workplace,
That's right.
from our environments, from chamas, and from all these places that we interact with.
Right.
But so we need to have that sieving mechanism in the family units and in our relationships, and even at the workplace, for a better nation. Afia Fit 360. Yes.
Thank you so much, guys. That's where you can find Ken. Interact more. Thank you so much for, guys, this year you have really worked with us. We have done amazing. And this is, you guys, I give you all the credit. You keep us moving. You keep us engaged. We are starting another year with another content. Next week, same time, this place. Have yourself Happy New Year, good festivals, enjoy, but also click refresh. I know many of you are wishing for 2020 to go away very quickly, but hey, we also have a lot to be thankful for. Thank you so much. See you next week.